Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairul mursaleen. Muhammadin al-Nabi al-Ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Yaqulu Allahu ta'ala fil Quran al-Kareem. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And provides, and unto everyone who is conscious of Allah, He always grants a way out, that is, of unhappiness, and provides for him in a manner beyond all expectation. And for everyone who places their trust in Allah, Allah alone is enough. Technically, this is the same ayat that we read, that Allah will help you from avenues that you never expected, or Allah will help you from ways that are incomprehensible. In other words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have unlimited means and ways at His disposal to help you. And Allah knows our intention, Allah knows our whole, everything about us. So when we're working in the cause of Allah, Allah knows what to help us with, right, in order to get to our goal. It's the same as that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will train you for any fight He got you ready to get into. He's going to train you for that fight, so you're well prepared for that fight, whatever it is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will train you and prepare you for that fight. This is about Yusuf alayhi salam. O my sustainer, thou hast indeed bestowed upon me something of power, and hast imparted unto me some knowledge of the inner meaning of happenings, originator of the heavens and the earth. Thou art near unto me in this world and in the life to come. Let me die as one who is surrendered himself unto thee, and make me one of the righteous. Of course, this is Yusuf alayhi salam, and in other ayats it said that Allah gave Yusuf some inspiration into hadith, sayings and what have you. So now Yusuf has been through the whole process, and he's thanking Allah for giving him insight into the meaning of things as they are. And we all remember the story of Yusuf. His brothers was jealous. They threw him in the well, and they sold him for a miserable price, a little price. And because the Quran says they didn't know his value. They didn't know his real value. But later on, they figured it out. When they didn't come back to Egypt, they'd been gone so long, they didn't even know who he was. And he done met them all them times, and finally they said, "Are you indeed Yusuf?" He said, "I am Joseph, and this is my brother." Right? And then they said, "Oh man, we done messed up. We sure are sorry." He said, "La Tathraba. No reproach this day. I don't have anything to say to you that is negative." Let me see if I can. He said, "This day let no reproach be cast on you. Allah will forgive you, and He is the most merciful of those who show mercy." Of course, the little footnote says Joseph is most generous. He is glad that they had at least, or at last, seen the significance of what happened. But he will not allow them at this great moment of recognition to dwell on their conduct with reproaches against themselves. There's too much urgent work to be done. So, La Tathraba is, of course, Yusuf saying to the people, to his brothers, hey man, it ain't no reproach today. He says, Allah will forgive you. But it's too much work to be done right now than for you to sit around and beat yourself. Oh, we was bad. We did this. So no. Ain't no time for that. You done finally come to yourself. Good. Let's get busy and let's do the work that have to be done. The whole world is in a drought, right? The whole world is without food. When we say the whole world, we imagine in that region. Because see, famine and things, all of those things were common in those days. All the things that we don't hear much about anymore, shipwrecks and stuff like that, you had a good chance going out on that water to get shipwrecked. That's why Imam Ghazali has said, they asked him, what should we possess? He said, that which you don't lose in the event of shipwreck. What does that mean? If you got a bag of gold on you and it's weighing you down and you shipwreck, what you gonna do? You're gonna cut that. You're gonna save yourself. So what things should we possess? He said, that which you lose in the event of shipwreck. In other words, yourself. And so Yusuf is telling them and his brothers. But still, Allah is explaining to him. Yet, however strongly thou mayest desire it, most people will not believe in this revelation. Although thou dost not ask of them any reward for it, it is but Allah's reminder unto all mankind. But then how many a sign is there in the heavens and the earth which they pass by unthinkingly, and on which they turn their backs. So the point of this is that we have to accept the fact that there's a general rule that most people are not going to believe, especially if you're honest. If you're a charlatan, if you crafty with words, and you present people with things that they want to hear, they'll buy you Cadillacs, Benzes, airplanes, anything you want. Right? But if you tell the people the exact truth, even though you don't ask them for nothing, you don't ask them for nothing extra, nothing. You don't have to buy me a house, you don't have to buy me cars, you don't have to do nothing. But that's not going to help you, because as strange as it, we used to have a saying, it's easy to lead people in the wrong direction and hard to lead them in the right direction. That's just a fact of life. Even look around. Look at the world. Charlatans, buffoons are leading the people away from the straight path, although this is what, 2020, 2020. They have sociology, psychology. They have all kind of knowledge floating around. And people still get misled with the shallowest of diversions. So anyway, say, O Prophet, this is my way, resting upon conscious insight, accessible to reason. I am calling you to calling you all unto Allah and those who follow me, and say, limitless is Allah in His glory, and I am not one of those to ascribe divinity to aught besides Him. This stuff, like, just for instance, what we talk about here is psychologically accessible to everyone. I mean, we purposely keep it down, not the ABCs, but some people use flattery and jargon and all that, and they float around on them flying carpets. We don't do that. This, what we say to people, is accessible to aql, to reason. Have then they who reject this divine writ never journeyed about the earth and beheld what happened in the end to those deniers of truth who lived before them? And do they not know that to those who are conscious of Allah, the life in the hereafter, the life in the hereafter is indeed better than this world? Al-Hayat al-Dunya fil Akhirah. Fil Akhirah is the world to come next. But it's easier to believe in dunya because it's right there. You can taste it, touch it, your five senses. But Akhirah is beyond the five senses. There's nothing that leads up to that feeling that Akhirah is real. We know it intellectually, or most Muslims know that the next world exists. Actually, technically they believe in it. But they don't put their money in the bank, the eternal bank of the hereafter, where you get 10 rewards, 700 rewards, thousands of rewards for each investment, right? They're not going to put their wealth in that because it's way off there. But if you ask them to invest in some boondoggle right here, you'll be ready to go. Okay. Again, Yusuf alayhi salam had himself, his family, and all of those people. And this reminds me of something that we said. So we takes the whip out of the white man's hand and whips him with his own whip. You said, what does that have to do with all of this stuff? Well, in the past, that's exactly what we've done. And up to now, we have technically taken homeboy's whip out of his hand and whipped him with his own whip. Now, I want to read something, because when I go into this other section, I want it to be in this proper perspective. Revelation to inanimate objects, to the lower animals, and to the angels is of a different nature from revelation to man. And it is the latter which we are chiefly concerned. Divine revelation to man is stated to be of three kinds. And then it has an ayat. It is not for any mortal that Allah should speak to him except by inspiring from behind a veil or by sending a messenger and revealing by his permission what he pleases. I'll keep reading before I try to explain the ayat. The first of these, which is called wahi, in the original, is the inspiring of an idea into the heart. For the word wahi is used here in this original sense of a hasty suggestion or infusing into the heart, as distinguished from a revelation in words. Now, what the prophet gets from Jibril is in words, clear words. There ain't no mistake about it. Do you mean up and down, left or right? It's in words. That's the highest form of revelation. The Quran talks about 3 levels of, one level of revelation, but the other 2 are common to all people. And it mentions min wari al-hijab, from behind a veil, in a trance, in a dream. And a hasty suggestion. You know, it's something just hits you, you've been thinking about certain subjects for 30 years, and all of a sudden, bam, there it is. All people have that. Okay, we'll continue. Infusing into the heart is so-called from God speaking to man. This is technically called wahi kazi. In other revelations and the saying of the Holy Prophet ﷺ touching religious matters are in this class. The Holy Prophet ﷺ himself is reported to have said, on such an occasion, the Holy Spirit has inspired this into my heart. It is an idea put into the mind, as distinguished from revelation proper, which is a message conveyed in words. We just went over that. Revelation in this form is common to both prophets and those who are not prophets. And it is more or less, in this sense, the sense of putting a suggestion into the mind, or what is called lima or waswasa, when the shaitan whispers into you, withdraws after whispering. When you mess up, you think you be beating yourself. Man, I messed up. But the shaitan suggested it to you, then he backed up. Kind of hidden, like, you know, where he done made the suggestion, he done prepared everything for you, and then when you fall into the trap, you think you did it. But it technically wasn't you, you was listening to waswasa khannas. Okay, let's see, waswasa of the devil. That is the devil spoken of as bringing to their friends, the friends of the shaitan. And the devils do suggest yuhan, from wahi, to their friends. The second mode of God speaking to man is to be from behind a veil, min warahi hijab. And this includes ruya, that is dream, kashif, vision, ilham. Ilham is the second stage of revelation, ilham. It's not wahi, but it's ilham, like you are inspired, been inspired, or you've been suggested to something. When voices are heard or uttered in a state of a trance, the recipient being neither quite asleep nor fully awoke. I'm going to get to that in a while. This form of revelation is also common both to prophets and those who are not prophets. And in its simplest form, ruya, or the dream, is a universal experience of the whole of humanity. The Holy Quran tells us the vision of a king who was apparently not a believer in God and Allah. That's in Surah Yusuf. A vision which had a deep underlying significance. Remember the king that dreamt up, man, I saw 7 fat cows, 7 fat cows come up out of the Nile, and I saw them get eaten up by 7 skinny cows. So he asked everybody, what y'all think of that? They said, man, that's a confused medley. Hey, man, I would just tell the truth. I have no idea what that dream is about. So the guy, well, y'all remember, so the guy there was a cupbearer of the king, he had been in jail with Yusuf. He said, just a minute. Because Joseph had told him, you're gonna be serving the king again, cupbearer. Then the homeboy don't look too good. Looks like birds picking at your head and stuff. So maybe you can call it a day. I mean, I'm not condemning you or nothing, but that's what it looks like, and that's what happened. Technically an execution type like that, where they leave you out there. So they run get Yusuf, not that I was going to deal with this, but they run get Yusuf and say, hey man, we want you to come out, and king that had a spell and stuff like that, so can you come out? He said, I ain't coming out till y'all clean up that stuff about the ladies. I ain't talking about nothing. Then they asked the ladies, no, that brother ain't did nothing. It was not Samara. The self, we won't get into that, but that animal instinct. He was just handsome as Yusuf was said to be so handsome. The women said, this is the angel. This boy is an angel, this is angelic. Now they cut the hands. Anyway, we got to get back to this. So, but he said, then he told the king, he said, hey man, what you do, you plant all you can for 7 years and save a big portion of it. Because you're going to have 7 years of famine. That's what they did. That's why everybody was in Egypt. Because they followed. Yusuf alayhi salam became the distributor. He said, put me over the storehouse because I know their value.